Hello, this is Rich Campy, CEO of Pro Advisor Coach, The Thinking Coach. We're on session 3. And if you were with us the first time, we covered a quick overview of Dr. Hartman, formal axiology, the background, the 3 dimensions. And then in the last session, we dove a little bit deeper into session 2 on MIndscan, and we talked about the breakdowns, right? The 4 different parts. So we have how many dimensions? 3, operating with how many worlds? 2, right? We talked about clarities and we talked about biases. In this session, the 3rd session in MIndscan, we're going to break this down a little bit more and look at specifically the intrinsic, which is also called the relator, external world, which is empathy. And we're going to look a little bit deeper at empathy and what that means. So I've got this graph for you here, and hopefully this will help to understand. So the dimension that we're going to be talking about is this one right here. Right? And if you can see here, this represents, this space right here is the empathy. So if we go from this dimension to the external world, that's up here. And if you can see that, that's what we're looking at, right? So that's the empathy area. So this is the external world in the relator area. All right? External world in the relator. So if we take this particular area and we take a big circle, okay, this would be, I'm able to see people. I'm really able to understand people's feelings, their emotions, where they're coming from. It's like the bigger this circle is, the larger the circle shows up for this clarity overall, the wider the lens, the more I'm really able to feel what's going on with people. Almost like supernatural powers. I can just really understand that place where someone's coming from. And that's good. The danger with that is if you understand people that well, you're probably understanding them better than they understand themselves. So it could show up as discounting their feelings, even though you understand them so well, because you're seeing it so fast. It's almost, I like to use the example when we have big, large circles like the X-Men, right? If anyone of you have seen that before, it's a great series on these mutants with supernatural powers. And one guy has these glasses he wears, and he flips them up and he's able to like shoot lasers out, right? And if he's not in control of that, then he just shoots these lasers all over and he feels like he's a misfit and he doesn't fit in. But when he's able to use his powers effectively by working with Dr. Xavier, then he's able to channel and harness that energy in the right places at the right time. But if we don't know what we don't have, then it's hard to use these skills effectively. So to God who giveth a lot, much is expected, right? And some of us may have really large circles. Some of us may have really small circles, right? And all of us have special gifts that we can use. And understanding ourselves and others and how thinking works is a really powerful way to be better in our relationships and our relationship with ourselves and with others. So as we look at this area of empathy in the external world, okay, so that's what we call it. So relator to the external world is called empathy. Large circle, really clear about what's going on with people. Smaller circle is very narrow in our perspective. So it's creative, like we think in a much different way than most about people, but it's very narrow in our scope, like we only see people being a certain way. Okay, that's the size of the circle. Now let's talk about bias. The bias is the up and down on the scale, right? So this is the part of looking at it from down here, right, to up here. So this is very attentive up on top, and down here is very under attentive, where if we're in the middle, we're very balanced around people. Okay, so if we're to the top part of the scale, like we just mentioned, we're going to be enabling, like letting people get away with a lot. We just say yes, 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 yes to everything all the time. Yes, 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 all the time, yeses. If we're to the bottom, we're more disengaged, detached from people, meaning we are very cautious. We're very protective when we're having conversations with people, that we don't really give people the benefit of the doubt. We're the top, where we give everyone, we trust everybody, go, 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 go. To the bottom, we're just like, yeah, I'm not sure. So let me give you an example to help fill the gaps in. Jack Wilder, my mentor and coach, had an opportunity to work with serial killers in prison systems, and they profiled them with the MIndscan. And one thing that they found, and let me ask you the question, Do you think that serial killers have a really big circle in understanding people really well, or a really small circle? The answer is they have a big circle. They understand people really, really well. They have a lot of clarity about people. But where is their circle? Is it to the top, right? Letting lots of light in, all about the people, or is it to the bottom? You got it. It's all the way to the bottom. So they see people clearly, but they don't trust people. They don't care about people at all. And that's why they can manipulate and do all these things, like a Bundy who lived in Chicago, Illinois, buried bodies, people in his backyard. Yet when you talk to his neighbors, they would say, oh, he's the nicest guy ever. I talked to him at the mailbox, seemed like a great guy. Okay, so really important to understand the difference. Now, maybe you're a salesperson, or a social worker, or whatever role that you have. It's really important to understand this, because if we're to the top of the scale, we're probably creating some codependent or enabling situations, letting people get away with more than they should, and that's probably not helpful for them. We're going to cover this a lot more in session 9 and 10, but give you an example. If you're all the way to the top and you see, for example, a cocoon with that butterfly trying to get out of that cocoon, and it's struggling, it's hurting, and it's pressing against there, and it's trying to get out of that cocoon, and if you're all the way to the top, you would cut the cocoon open and you'd say, oh, that butterfly needs to get out, right? And the butterfly falls to the ground and it dies. And you're like, oh my gosh, it died. But here's the reality. That butterfly needed to struggle. It needed to feel the pain. The pain is its best friend in those situations, because the pain of pushing against the outside of the cocoon is what causes the wings to get strong enough so it can fly on its own. If you cut it out, if we cut that butterfly out, cut the cocoon open, let it come out, the butterfly never had the chance to flex its muscles to build up the strength to fly on its own. And so therefore we have robbed the butterfly of the ability to fly on its own. Some of us as parents can get in this situation, either as parents or as managers or as leaders or even as friends, where we steal the pain away from people because they never we feel so much from them, we want to take it away. And in reality, we're actually hurting them because they're not able to learn to press against the outside of the cocoon called life and work out those thinking muscles to stretch themselves to be the best that they can be. So be aware of that, those enablers out there, the codependents, right? We have it all the way to the top in the empathy that say yes, yes, yes to everything, and then you're totally exhausted at the end of the day and you don't know why. This is the clue. And vice versa, if you're all the way to the bottom, be aware too that maybe we're detached or disengaged to the point that we need to raise this up. And the cool thing about the MIndscan is it can change. The biases, the up and down on the scale, can shift. So once we have the awareness, we can make changes. All right, so if you haven't taken the MIndscan, do that now. Please go to our website, proadvisorcoach.com. It's free, it's a $500 value. Do it, it's great. You'll get your top strength, your potential weakness, and you can follow up to get a summary graph and a full report if you decide to do that, but highly recommend to do that. This is Coach Rich Campy saying thank you for tuning in. We'll look forward to next session, which will be session 4, the big 4, and on that we're going to cover the practical thinking, which is the doer to the external world. That's the doer to the external world, which is called practical thinking. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.